why do your solos always sound like scale exercises even after all that time memorizing patterns and jamming over backing tracks? Well, for most lost intermediate guitarists, it boils down to three core problems: abandoning pentatonic scales, making random, unintentional note choices, and having no awareness of the chord progression. In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix all three of these common lead guitar roadblocks fast. And first, I want you to listen to this short solo I recorded over a minor blues in A. If you're an intermediate guitarist, chances are you've already got the minor pentatonic scale locked in. But maybe you've hit a wall where everything you play starts to sound the same, like it's coming from the same handful of minor pentatonic patterns. That's when a lot of players make the mistake of thinking that they need to ditch the minor pentatonic entirely and replace it with something more exotic to break out of that rut. But the truth is, you shouldn't abandon the minor pentatonic. You just need to go deeper with it. There's a reason the greatest guitar players in the world rely on this scale so heavily. It's incredibly playable, musical, and it's packed with creative potential when you know how to expand on it in the right way. Now, when soloing over a minor blues progression like the one you just heard me play over, the minor pentatonic works great. But to make it sound even better, you can add in a couple of notes from the Aeolian mode, aka the natural minor scale. Here's A minor pentatonic with its 5 notes. And here's the A Aeolian mode with its 7 notes. I like to think of the minor pentatonic as a 5-note skeleton of the larger 7-note scale that I just showed you, Aeolian. All of the notes in the minor pentatonic are naturally found within the Aeolian mode as well. And the 2 additional notes in Aeolian, known as a natural second and flat sixth, can be used to add extra melodic depth. That's exactly what I did at the start of that solo. Most of it was A minor pentatonic based, but I also threw in the natural second from Aeolian at a couple of different points. So if you want a quick tip on adding that natural second to your minor pentatonic lines, in position 1, it can be found between these notes on the low and high E strings. And you can also find it on the G string here. Let's listen back to that part of the solo a couple more times. And you might be wondering, well, what about the flat sixth from Aeolian? Didn't you mention that note? Well, in position 1, you can find that note on the A and B strings here. But I didn't actually use it in that part of the solo that you just heard. I am going to explain how I typically use the flat sixth from Aeolian later in this video. But first, I wanted to let you know that I've just opened the waitlist for my new course, 80/20 Lead Guitar Mastery, a step-by-step soloing system built for lost intermediate players who want to stop running aimless scale patterns and start playing guitar solos that sound like music. Inside the course, you'll focus on the 4 most useful 7-note scales: Ionian, Aeolian, Dorian, and Mixolydian, plus the pentatonic scales, the triads, and the arpeggios that live inside them. And just as importantly, we skip the fluff. No master all 7 modes nonsense, no exotic scale overload, just the high leverage soloing concepts that will actually move the needle. If you've been stuck in a soloing rut for months, years, or even decades, this is going to be your way out. Just click the link below to join the waitlist and receive an early bird discount when the pre-sale goes live this June. I just explained why you don't need to ditch the minor pentatonic to play more melodic solos that connect with the chords. Now let's move on to the next big issue I see with intermediate players who struggle to sound musical when they solo over backing tracks. The solo you heard earlier was played over a minor blues backing track in A minor. And here's where most guitar players go wrong. They see a backing track labeled A minor and immediately think, cool, I'll just play the A minor pentatonic or A Aeolian and I'll be golden. And yes, those scales technically work, but that's not quite enough. If you truly want to sound melodic and intentional, you need to go beyond the key and learn the actual chord progression. Because here's the truth. You can't make intentional note choices if you don't know what chords you're playing over. Intentional note choices mean landing on the right notes at the right time. Notes that reflect the harmony, the chords underneath your solo. So before you jump into soloing over that next backing track, don't just look at the key. Learn the chords and memorize the structure of the chord progression. That is where musical phrasing truly begins. Now, let me give you an example of the type of intentional lead playing you can do when you take this advice on board and actually pay attention to the chord progression. That line uses minor seventh arpeggios and it's played over the turnaround of this minor blues progression. If you don't know what turnaround means, it's the term used to describe the final 4 bars of a 12-bar blues progression. For this track, that's 1 bar of the 5 chord, which is E minor 7, 1 bar of the 4 chord, D minor 7, and 2 bars of the 1 chord, A minor 7. Listen back to the lick again, but this time without the backing track underneath it, and you may notice something interesting about my note choices. You can hear the chord changes happening without me strumming a single chord voicing. That is because I am aware of the chord progression and I'm being intentional with my note choices as a result. Over the E minor 7 chord, I outline an E minor 7 arpeggio shape like this. Over the D minor 7 chord, I do the same thing with a D minor 7 arpeggio shape. And when the chord returns to A minor 7, I play some A minor pentatonic based line. Now, if you're not too familiar with using arpeggios in your lead playing, maybe you only think about using scales, you might look at that and think, oh, this is something that I need to add on top of the scales that I use. But in reality, arpeggios are already built into scale patterns that you know, especially the Aeolian mode, also known as the natural minor scale. Take a look at the chords that naturally occur in the A natural minor scale. You'll see that D minor 7 are the 4 and 5 chords built directly from the 4th and 5th scale degrees. When those chords appear in the progression, arpeggios are a powerful way to highlight them because unlike bar chord voicings like this, arpeggio shapes lay out the chord tones 1 note at a time from low to high, making them ideal for creating melodic lines that really connect with the harmony. So now I want to play that same line a couple more times and I'll put the tab on screen so that you can practice it at home. Oh, and before I forget, earlier when we were talking about pentatonics and Aeolian, I mentioned adding the flat 6th from A Aeolian to the minor pentatonic. Well, If we look at where that note can be found in relation to position 1 of the minor pentatonic, you can find it on the A and B strings. And if you look now at this D minor 7 arpeggio shape, you'll notice that that same note appears as the flat third in the arpeggio. So that's generally how I like to use the flat sixth in Aeolian, more often as the flat third in the arpeggio for the 4 chord. Now, this is getting a little bit complex, so don't worry if that doesn't make sense to you right away, but I just wanted to mention that in this video before I forgot. Now, using arpeggios to outline chord changes in minor keys is just one of many melodic soloing techniques I dive much deeper into inside 80/20 Lead Guitar Mastery, my upcoming course built specifically for intermediate lead players who want to sound more musical and expressive when they solo. If you want early access along with an exclusive early bird discount, make sure you click the link below to join the waitlist today. So far in this video, we've talked about combining Aeolian and the minor pentatonic, the importance of learning the chord progression before you solo, and how arpeggios can help you play lines that actually connect with the harmony, with the chord progression. Now, I want to leave you with one bonus tip that can instantly add more flavor to your minor key solos. It all comes down to adding one note, a note that creates a little bit of tension and spice. Take a listen to this melodic line. Hear that extra tension? That comes from a note called the raised seventh, which I played right here at fret 6 on the D string. This note comes from the A harmonic minor scale, a 7-note scale that's almost identical to A Aeolian, but with one key difference, the 7th scale degree. Aeolian uses a flat 7th found 2 frets below the root. Harmonic minor raises that note by a semitone, placing it just 1 fret below the root. Now, personally, I stick with minor pentatonic and Aeolian patterns for most of my minor key soloing. But when I want to add a little tension or go slightly outside, I'll sprinkle in that raised 7th from harmonic minor. My advice is to use it sparingly. It's kind of like hot sauce. Just the right amount adds flavor. Too much and it can overpower the dish. So there you have it. High impact ways to start making your solos sound more intentional, expressive, and musical in minor keys. Use the minor pentatonic as your framework and add color with surrounding notes from Aeolian. Learn the chord progression first so that you can make intentional note choices. Make those intentional note choices by outlining the chords with arpeggio shapes, and spice things up now and again with that raised 7th from harmonic minor. If you found this helpful and you want to go deeper into these ideas with full solos, licks, and step-by-step concept breakdowns, just join the waitlist for my new course, 80/20 Lead Guitar Mastery. It's built specifically for intermediate players stuck in the scale pattern rut, and it focuses only on the high leverage soloing tools that actually move the needle. Early bird spots open soon, and waitlist members get first access and exclusive discounted pricing. Hit the link below to get on the waitlist, and I'll see you inside.